We leaders, we bring natural skill sets and natural perspectives to our work environment. Some of us are more charismatic and more risk-taking and vision-oriented, and the way we lead is always way out there in the future. And when you're around that type of a leader, you always know you're going to go in for some sort of a crazy, great, wild ride. They see a better tomorrow than current reality. Now, if that leader only sees his or her business from that one perspective, there are chances that the decisions he or she's making and the influence that he has, it's at risk. You're around leaders who are very well grounded in current reality. They got to their position because they were the most knowledgeable, competent, well-connected, well-versed expert in the business. And they know how to manage the business. They're spreadsheet wizards. They get it. And what happens is they manage out of that strength. They lead out of that strength. But if that's the only strength that they possess, if that's the only perspective that they have, again, the decisions they make and the influence they have, it's at risk. So the 5 perspectives that I believe each and every one of you need to see your business from are as follows. The first perspective is current reality. And when I talk about current reality, what I'm talking about is the leader who's got both of his feet firmly grounded on what's happening in the business today. This leader understands how the business operates. The leader understands what it's like to engage with the customer. This leader over here understands how the business works, the mechanics, the supply chain. They understand what fulfillment looks like. They understand the technology. They understand every aspect of the business. This business is so grounded, you could plug them into just about any department, anywhere in the chain, and they would be able to function. Not only could they succeed in just about any area of the business, but they understand what's taking place legislatively. They know what's happening economically. They know what's taken place in the historical perspective of the company, which is really critical for today and how we manage. And they will often manage out of that strength. I'm thinking of a leader, a brilliant leader, leads a multi-billion-dollar organization. And this leader is a visionary leader. This leader, when you're with this leader, you're so excited about 2020. You're so excited about who the organization is going to become and what we're going to be known for. But the leader's struggling right now. And the leader's struggling right now for this reason. The leader's struggling right now because the leader has a lot of interests. And everybody in the business knows that the leader's not really grounded in the mechanics of this business, not really focusing on the detail, the process, the customer engagement and what it's like. The leader's always way over their future state. And what's happening with the team is now questioning the leader's decision-making ability, and they're feeling like they need to do workarounds because the leader really doesn't get it. And when that happens and they start questioning the leader's decision-making ability because the leader's not firmly grounded in current reality, what happens to influence? The leader starts to lose influence. So you have to see the business from current reality. You've got to understand what makes the business work, and that might be your opportunity for improvement. You might need to be a bit more astute. You might need to read a little bit more. You might need to spend more time in the different departments and in the different functions asking the right questions. You might need to be one of the very rare leaders who will sit down with clients and say, what's it like to do business with us? What's it like to engage in our product or in our service? And to learn, you've got to be up and out to understand current reality. That's the first perspective. The second perspective is way over here, and it's future state. This is sometime in the future, and great leaders have the ability to not just manage in current reality, but they can operate over here. They make the invisible visible, and they see something that most people don't. They see what this business is going to be like, what this business is going to be known for, how the business is going to operate, how the team's going to connect with one another, what the team's reputation will be, what the customer experience will be like, what it will be like to go through challenges together, what it will be like to innovate together. They can actually paint a picture for future state that causes all of those on the team over in current reality to want to run over here and say, I'm willing to invest and sacrifice and give of myself because I want to be a part of that. That's how you start to offer people careers instead of jobs. Because what happens is, if we only live over here in current reality, then everybody that's clocking in the morning, what they see is they see gray cubicles, 4 foot by 4 foot. What they see is they see one hammer and nail at a time. What they see is one document at a time, one software application or process at a time. They're micro-focused, but great leaders have the ability to say, no, you are part of something that's much bigger. And we need you to grow. We need you to stretch because this is where we're headed. That second perspective, future state, great leaders have the ability to see it and communicate it in ways that are both compelling and clear. It needs to compel you as a leader. You need to have it in writing. You need to be able to read it, and it needs to cause you to get a bit nervous. Your palms sweat a bit because it's going to require risk. And there's a chance that you're not going to achieve it. But you know what? Striving to achieve it, it's worth the risk because how you're going to grow from that place back in history to the future state. Now, what I've seen with many businesses, with business leaders who don't have future vision, and I'm talking about leaders who have been at it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They're making really nice, cushy incomes. They've got all the perks. They've got all the bennies. Their business, if they make one decision, will not fail. They've got a big machine running. And what happens in a lot of these leaders' lives is they get to this place over here where they no longer see future state because they've already exceeded their vision. And now they're no longer on the offense. They don't see that anymore. They're no longer pushing and taking risks. They don't have a second perspective. So what they do is they build a fence around this. They're no longer on the offense. And what they do is they start creating policy to protect the brand. They start creating more procedure to ensure that we don't lose this. And they try to build a fence around it because it serves me, the leader, really well. And let's just not screw up. Now, when we bring that perspective to our teams, what excitement is there in that? Hey, people, today, all I want you to do this week is let's not make a mistake and let's just stay status quo, all right? Everybody, status quo. We're not going to engage the heads and the hearts of our teammates. People are not going to want to take risk. They're not going to see future opportunity. And as a result of that, we're going to have cultural issues and retention issues. And it's only a matter of time before the success of the organization starts to drop. That's second perspective. It's got to be very compelling for me. And I need to communicate it in ways that causes others on the team to be excited and to be willing to take the risk because, hey, they're making a significant investment. The majority of the waking hours they're devoting to the organizations we lead. So it's a stewardship issue for us. We've got to be leading them somewhere that's worth the sacrifice and following. So it's got to be compelling, and then it needs to be clear. And it needs to be in writing. Because if it's not clear, we don't have the third perspective. And the third perspective are what we call strategic bets. We're over here in current reality. We've got that clear future state for 2025. But what strategic bets are we going to create and invest in? What 3 to 5 big strategies are we going to invest in? We're going to resource them. We're going to start to communicate around them. We're going to build gates and checkpoints to deploy them. We're going to have owners and resources for them. And as we deploy those strategies, when those strategies are executed, they move our current reality more towards that future state. I can tell you countless stories of really inspirational leaders who've got great vision, and they're pretty well dialed with current reality, but they haven't taken the time to figure out what bets they're going to make. And why am I calling them a bet? Because I've not seen anybody with the skill who has had the ability to say, these 5 strategies are all guaranteed. If they were all guaranteed, well, then it's a no-brainer. There's no risk in it. So what are the 3 to 5 strategic bets that you begin focusing on? You resource them. You build team around them. You have owners for them. You communicate. You measure. You have specific meetings to just review the results and the progress on those strategic bets. See, the majority of us, when we lead, we're leading meetings, and those meetings are all focused on perspective 1, current reality. What's the challenge? What's the crisis? What do we need to do? We're not investing enough time to making sure that we're moving the organization and the team in strategic ways towards that future state. Third perspective, strategic bets. The fourth perspective is the perspective of the team. Oftentimes, leaders don't really see the business from the teammates' perspective. They don't understand what it's like to do the work that the teammates do. They don't create clear channels or lanes for their teammates to operate in. They don't define success with clarity. And without a definition for success, it creates a lot of ambiguity and it makes it difficult for people to succeed or win. And really gifted leaders spend time with their teammates so that their teammates understand what's most important. This is what's required in order for us to continue to succeed over here in Perspective 1, current reality. And this is what we need of you because we're headed over there to Perspective 2, future state. And this is what you're going to own. This is how you're going to participate in these strategic bets so that we as an organization move forward. I heard years ago at the World Business Forum, Jack Welch say about a very large printing company that we all probably owned one of these printers at some point in the future, or at some point in the past, and he said the demise of this organization was when their CEO no longer made it a priority to develop future leaders. See, the perspective of the team, when we as leaders see the horsepower of the team and we see the business from that perspective, then we make developing our teammates a strategic bet. It's always something that we're investing in. Building leadership capacity is always required if you're going to grow an organization. So you've got to see the business that way. Succession planning needs to be a part of your conversation. It needs to be a part of your strategy in order for the team to be mobilized in ways that will move your current reality towards that future state. So we've talked about 4 perspectives. Great leaders can make the best decisions and have the most influence if they're well grounded over here in current reality, if they see the future over there in vision, and they've got a vision that's clear and compelling, if they're building strategic bets that are going to move them forward, they're resourcing them, reviewing them, measuring them, adjusting. They understand and are connected with the team because the team's going to be required in order for us to do that work as well as keeping our eyes on current reality. And then that 5th and final perspective is one where we coaches spend a whole bunch of time, and that perspective is you and your role as a leader. Oftentimes, these leaders, many of you, you get to a point where you no longer know what it is that you need to be doing in order to be the leader of the future. So if you're not changing and you're leading in ways that you did for the last 10 years and you're filling your calendar with the same activities or disciplines that you did back in 2014 and you're hoping to get to the results, that future state that you see for 2025, but you're not changing first, you're going to make it absolutely impossible for your teammates to follow you. Because in order for the organization to grow, I have to grow. My calendar needs to look different. There are certain disciplines that I need to continue doing. Connecting with the team, talking to the customers, thinking, innovating, networking, and collaborating with the right partners. I need to be doing those things. But the truth of the matter is, if you're like any of the rest of our clients, if I were to watch you work, you've got 27 different things you're trying to do each and every day, each and every week. And truly, 3 to 5 of those things are the high payoff activities that if you would do more of those, would help you to become the leader that you need to be in that future state. My belief is that if you are crystal clear on the areas where you need to grow in your knowledge, in your skill, and then you can align your workload to where you're filling your calendar with more of the activities that will enable the organization to grow because you're ahead, then you make it very easy for the organization to follow you. The decisions you're making are future-oriented, and your influence is pulling people forward. So I believe with absolutely every bit of me, you'll be a better leader if you see your business from all 5 of those perspectives. So my challenge for you now is, which of those perspectives do you see the greatest opportunity for you to grow in? And just like in life, our perspectives will change as businesses grow, as businesses shrink. You'll see the business from a different vantage point. So I would look at it today and say, all right, which of the 5, where is there the opportunity? And then start investing in developing more strength, more clarity, and better execution in that one perspective. And once you can see things a bit more clearly from that perspective, move to the next, because we never arrive at a place where we see our business from all 5 perspectives with absolute clarity. It's always moving. It's always growing. There are all sorts of dynamics at play. All right? Good luck. My hope is that you see your business with more clarity, get better perspective, so that you as leaders make better decisions and have more influence. Thank you.